teach you, I can love you if you got it going on. If you got it, got it, got it, got it, got it, got it. If you got it, got it, got it, got it, got it going on. If you got it, got it, got it, got it, got it, got it. If you got it, got it, got it, got it, got it going on. Got it going on. Got it, got it, got it, got it, got it going on. Got it, got it, got it, got it, got it going on. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, hello everyone. Looks like people are starting to join. How's everyone doing? Doing good. Okay, amazing. If you want to drop in the chat either where you're calling from and also what you're hoping to get from today, that would be amazing. If you can drop it in the chat, where are you calling in from? What are you hoping to get in from today? Need this dress? I know. Okay, okay. I actually rented this dress years ago and then I loved it so much and I felt like it needed to be a staple. So I just ended up buying it from the rental place. I think it was Rent the Runway or something. So oh my gosh. Love, love, love. Thank you. I know, always in bright colors per usual. But everyone, where are you calling in from? What are you hoping to get for today? Let's set our intentions, get started strong. We're going to wait a couple of minutes before we get started while people start to join here. Looks like we've got, oh, hey, Mari. We've got Danielle. We've got Kelly. We've got Sanchel. We've got Ty. Where are you calling in from? What are you hoping to get? Oregon. Yes, my girl. Oh my gosh. I feel like it was just like a year, maybe 2 years ago that I last saw your face. I'm so glad that you're here, my girl. Amazing. We've got Seattle. We've got Oregon. See another Seattle. Amazing. Oh my gosh. Love it. New York. Learning about where to start. Amazing. Oh my gosh. Okay. We have so much to go over today. So I'm so excited. Heather just called in. Precious just called in. Hello, hello, hello. How is everyone doing? While everyone joins, I just want you to put in the chat, where are you calling in from? What are your intentions? What are you hoping to learn today? I'm so excited to chat with you. Oh my gosh, Mary, we will go over how to put less than 20% down. That's the easy part. I can't wait to go through that with you. Okay, calling in from Philly at Hey, Precious. Hey, my girl. It's so good to see you. So glad that you're here. Oh my gosh. Love, love, love this. Okay, we're going to give everyone like 2 more minutes and then we're going to go ahead and get started. Is everyone having a good Tuesday? Ready to get started for the holidays here soon, which is pretty wild that we're already at Thanksgiving. I feel like this year flew by like a crazy little rocket ship. Just so wild, so wild. Oh my gosh. Heather, where are you calling in from? And we've got Victoria who just joined. Denver. Oh my gosh, I'm also in Denver. I love to see it. Love to see it. Victoria, I think you just joined as well. Where are you calling in from? Oh my gosh, I was also, well, not last week, but 2 weeks ago, I was also in Atlanta. I think we've got Maria as well. We've got Wayne. Where are you calling in from? Everyone, drop in the chat. Where are you calling in from? And what are you hoping to get out of today? What are you hoping to learn? Just drop it in the chat and we're going to get started in literally 1 minute. I'm going to share my screen and we're going to freaking go. Okay. Let's see. We've got Anchorage, Alaska. Oh my gosh. Okay. My brother used to live in Alaska. And so I went to go visit him during COVID. I'm obsessed during the summer. It was fabulous. The mountains, the ocean, everything, the nature, the outdoors, just so incredible. So incredible. Oh my gosh. We've got Sydney. We've got Ty. Drop in the chat. Where are you calling in from? What are you hoping to learn today? Wayne, everyone else. I can only see a few of you on here. Tia, Sydney. I can only see a few of you at a time. So if you're joining now, I probably can't see your face, but just drop in the chat. Where are you calling in from and what are you hoping to get from this session today? Charlotte, North Carolina. Okay, such good real estate in Charlotte. Just an FYI, lots of opportunity there. So amazing. Also, Alaska. I have a close friend of mine. He invests in short-term rentals in Alaska. There's here's the thing with real estate, there's opportunity everywhere. You just need to get creative a little bit with the strategies sometimes. Yes, there's so much opportunity. Okay, well, we are right at '06, so we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to share my screen. Let me do this here so you can see what I'm looking at, and we'll go ahead and get started. So, hello, welcome. I'm so excited that you are here for Fund Your Freedom, How to Buy Properties that pay for your lifestyle. Okay. So this is literally the last. I stopped doing master classes earlier this year in April. And for whatever reason, I honestly just felt this pull. I was like, we need to do one more master class. We're going to do one more master class, go out with a bang. I don't know if I'll honestly do this master class again. Maybe in the future, we'll see. Maybe in a year from now, maybe it'll be a Thanksgiving thing. I don't know. But either way, I'm so glad that you're here. And I'm just excited to share everything with you because if you've met me, you know that I will talk your ear off about real estate, about living life on your own terms, about all of the things. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so in the next 60 minutes, the whole goal is for me, what I'm going to be doing is I'll be uncovering the best strategies for everyday people just like you and me to build a profitable real estate portfolio in 2025 and in 2026 and in 2027 and for many, many years to come because what we're going to be learning today are simple strategies that truly work in every single real estate environment and have for years and will continue to work for years. And I honestly think it's going to be like one of the few ways that's going to continue to work for many, many years to come. You're also going to leave with the exact framework of how to escape the corporate grind if you're in corporate, or maybe you're working a job, right? Or you started a business that feels kind of like a grind, right? And real estate can kind of alleviate that for you. So you can spend more time traveling and never having to ask for time off again. And then you're also going to see a bunch of real case studies, okay, of how I went from renting to cash flowing, but not even just me, but some folks who have been in my programs and things like that. Like, it's not just me doing this. There's so many people around the world doing this too. So make sure that you take notes, turn off old distractions, pay attention because I want you to secure your next rental as fast as possible and with as little money as possible, which is key. Okay. Just like Ariana here, Ariana came to me. She literally didn't even know what a mortgage was when she came to me, and we were able to get her a property within a couple of months, like not even using regular loans. We actually did a whole off market deal with her, and she now lives for free in a property in Austin by using the strategies we're going to talk about today. So, who am I? If you don't know who I am, my name is Olivia Tati. You probably found me on social media, or maybe you've been following me for years. Maybe you just found me yesterday or today. Who knows, right? But I'm the founder and CEO of Wanderlust Wealth Academy. I'm a real estate investor and coach. So I coach people on how to do exactly what I did. I'm an interior design specialist. I actually had an interior design business that I recently shut down simply because I love designing my own properties and I don't love designing other people's properties. And it's just easier for me to design my own and create my whole own brand for myself. But I am a serial traveler. I've been to 58 countries. I hit 50 countries by the time I turned 25. I make over like up to $40,000 a month from my real estate investment portfolio. I'm all about a small but mighty portfolio. If you came here because you want to get 100 doors just for the sake of getting 100 doors, I'm probably not your girl. I'm all about small, efficient, mighty. Okay. And then I'm a YouTuber, podcaster, content creator. If you follow me on the socials, I love being on the socials. So yeah, find me there. But my whole mission is to empower ambitious folks to break free from the 9 to 5 grind, build real wealth through aligned real estate investing, and design a true life of radical freedom, purpose, and joy on their own terms. Because that is genuinely how I live my life. And that is just a core value for me. Okay. So if you're sitting here right now, you may fit into one of these buckets. Maybe you're the high achiever, right? You've built a 6-figure corporate career. You've done the thing, but you know deep down you're meant for more than just performance reviews or PTO requests, and you're ready to build wealth, reduce taxes, and create real options for your future self because you're like, I don't think I'm going to do this for the next 30, 40 years, you know? Or maybe you're the entrepreneur. You've made great money, right? But you're craving some stability. You maybe want to diversify your income and not feel like you're on, once again, this other hamster wheel of chasing the next deal. Maybe you want to scale back the hustle a little bit and create passive streams of cash flow and equity that work for you while you take breaks and while you rest. Or maybe you're the nurturer. You're maybe thinking about starting a family soon, or simply just slowing down a little bit, and you cannot imagine keeping up the pace. You want your money working harder for you so you can spend more time with your family and just doing the things that you actually want to do. Or maybe you're the nomad, as you know, or you might not know, but I have had multiple stints as a nomad. I'm going to be doing a fun, like half year nomading stint again next year because I can't not. But maybe you've been traveling or living freely for a while now, but now you're craving some sense of stability without losing your freedom, right? You want a property that actually gives you more options, not more stress, a way to build wealth and not be the broke nomad, right? Build real wealth that actually supports your lifestyle instead of actually limiting it. Okay, a quick question for you. Okay, what motivated you to actually sign up for this class? I want you to put it in the chat. I need to find the chat. Where did it go? Okay, there's the chat. So I want you to drop in the chat right now what actually motivated you to sign up for this masterclass. I know we've got a good number of people here. We've got Mari, we've got Danielle, we've got Maria, Tia, Judith, Kelly, Sanchel, Heather, so many more people. What motivated you? Okay, Ty said to get re-inspired to get real estate to fund dreams and freedom. Yes, absolutely. Okay, love it. You said my journey, your journey. I love it. Compelling marketing. Thank you, my girl. We try. We try. Speaking to high achievers, I love it. Amazing. Amazing. What else? We've got Sydney on here. We've got Epiphany. We've got Victoria. I saw your post on this on Threads and have been talking to my mom about real. Oh my gosh, I love this. Also, I've been loving Threads lately. It's like my favorite social media platform. I feel like words are my favorite thing. Super genuine and willing to share information. Yes, I do not gatekeep. Literally, like stay until the end. There will be a Q&A. I'll answer every last question possible. Amazing. Need to grow wealth more and more time to travel, extra income. You make it look easy and fun. Yes, because life gets to be easy and fun. That's truly a core belief of mine. Extra income. Oh my goodness. Okay, love it. Desire for my journey to resemble yours and found me on Threads. Okay, I love this. I love this because I've been putting some time into Threads and I really love Threads. I like that a lot of you are coming from Threads. This is great. Okay, awesome. Now, question for you. Why do you actually want to be a real estate investor? Okay. What is that core reason, especially real estate in particular? Why do you want to be a real estate investor? Drop it in the chat. Also, just know this masterclass is going to be interactive. I'm going to be asking you questions. Okay. Time for more freedom, stability, time and financial freedom. Yep. What else? Why do you want freedom? Okay, I love this because freedom, once again, is a core value of mine, y'all. A core value. Love it. What else? Why do you want to be a real estate investor? Yes, to bless and help others. Okay, quick story. This is me going off on a tangent, but literally, so I was in Costa Rica all of last week. A friend of mine, she had a rental. The rental literally did not have heating. And she's like, I don't know where to stay, all of this. I'm like, girl, literally, you can stay at my property, no problem. Like, that's the beauty of having real estate, right? Is you can help the people around you. Provide security, provides homes for those that need it and your future self. Yes, love homes, interior design. Absolutely. Okay, love this. So, literally everything that all of you guys said, right? It usually buckles down into one of these buckets, right? For most people, it's either family, it's time, it's money, or it's freedom, right? And that's pretty much exactly what all of you guys were saying there in the chat. So, I want you to think about this for yourself right now. In the next 12 months, where would you like to be? When you think about that future self of you 12 months from now, what is that ideal state for you? Can you drop it in the chat? What does that look like for you? Twelve months from now, where are we going to be? Where do we want? What's our ideal situation? Gonna start calling on you. Heather, who have I not heard from? Epiphany, one property. Yes. Okay. So doable. So doable. Having another property with no mortgage. Yes, absolutely. Purchase first property, 100%. Free from 9 to 5 job. Okay. fun fact. We'll get into my story in a little bit, but I literally quit my job with the one property. So it's so possible, okay? Owning a property that's cash flowing, having one property under your belt, secured first rental property. Yes, completely autonomous financially. Absolutely. Having an area narrowed down. Oh my gosh, girl, we can be even further than that. For damn sure, okay? Third property. Yes. Okay, love that you're thinking about short-term rentals. We're going to go into that. So definitely, Heather, stay on the masterclass. We're going to go into short-term rentals quite a bit, especially in the second half, okay? Love this. Now, another question for you, and I promise we're about to get into the meat and potatoes, but it's important to think through these questions before even getting to it, right? Is what would your life look like if you don't start investing right now? If you don't actually take action towards your goal, what does your life look like 12 months from now? Stuck in this condo? Yep. Girl, and Danielle, we've been chatting for like a year or two now. We got to get out of this condo. We got to get out of this condo. Okay, love this. Stuck in the same cycle and absolutely not. No, absolutely not. No, I love it. We got to have that conviction, okay? Anyone else? Drop it in the chat. What would your life look like if you don't start investing? Flipping condo. I die. Anyone else? Precious, Victoria. Okay, doing the same thing. Yep, still thinking about investing, same as I am now. More fade savings, but no solid base. Yep, totally. Okay. So, how would actually getting your first, not even your first property, I know even for you, Heather, right? Your third property to getting a short term rental, how would that impact your life? What would change? What would get to change for you? What would that impact be like? Increasing monthly income? Yeah. Mm-hmm. What else? Working differently, more fun and soul inspired. Yes, absolutely. Cash flow, momentum, more stability, more time for family. Yes, the community that you've built here. Absolutely. Okay, I love this. So here's the thing is no matter how hard you work for someone else, you are literally always working for someone else. And sometimes, right, that someone else is that pesky little business or a big business that you've created for yourself that's just created yourself another job that hasn't actually provided you with freedom. I think I posted this on my story today, but I was just at a retreat with other entrepreneurs last week, and someone came to me and she makes $150,000 in her business. And she tells me, she's like, Olivia, you live so free. And I can tell that you just like operate differently. I hate my life. I hate my business. I hate my life. I make $150,000 a month and I feel trapped. And my thing is I don't build my systems and I don't build my business and I don't build my real estate portfolio. I didn't get out of corporate to feel trapped. Okay. I got out of corporate to live a free life, right? And so that's what this is really all about is being able to follow your intuition, follow your passions, follow the way the wind blows on whatever day, right? And so real estate investing is truly the easiest way for regular people just like you and me to build true wealth and escape the rat race and just gain more freedom in your life. And so, like I said before, stay until the end. There will be two bonuses. I'm going to be sending you a free resource, and then there is going to be a live Q&A at the end. I'm the kind of person, I just stay on until the last question is answered, right? So if you have a burning question, hold on to it, save it till the end. I will be here to answer all of them, okay? So today, I'm really going to show you how to achieve time, location, and financial freedom through one of the most powerful wealth building strategies, which is real estate investing, okay? Real people, real results, right? Javier, he was literally one of the first. This is when I barely even knew what I was doing, but I was just sharing my journey on social media. And he was one of the first clients I ever had. And he goes, actually officially out of my corporate world, now full-time entrepreneur, 3 weeks in, the shit is real now. I'm ready to like get in there. And that's the thing, it's like you can do this too. Now you might be wondering, why is she going to tell all of this to us for free? Two reasons. I don't sell information, right? If you follow me on the socials, I put all of the information out there. Information at this point with the internet, with ChatGPT, with Google, with everything, information is free. But I want more people actually living a life of freedom on their own terms. So this is truly for the person who did everything that they were supposed to do, right? But they still like feel stuck and they actually want to implement. They actually want to take the next step and do the damn thing. This is who this is for. Oh my gosh, I love that you started listening to the podcast. That's amazing. I'm so happy about that. Okay, so just a little bit about me, okay? So, September 2020, this is 5 years ago. I was an engineer in corporate America. Yes, this is me. And I literally worked in the oil and gas industry. I had just finished getting my bachelor's in chemical engineering and then my master's in engineering and technology management. And honestly, on paper, I had made it. I was making six figures. I was doing absolutely everything that my parents wanted me to do. But the problem is that I was also depressed. I was in a bit of credit card debt too because I'd taken a big trip right before starting my corporate job. Don't regret any of that. But then suddenly I was just working away at this job that was sucking my soul. And the funny thing is that I always knew that I didn't really want to be an engineer. Okay, I actually have this sticky note from one of my engineering internships from back in 2017 that was like all the things that I wanted to be as well as an engineer because I hadn't quite accepted, right, that I really didn't want to be an engineer. And I had things on there like travel blogger, inspirational speaker, life coach, interior decorator, which is so funny because I basically like gone and done all of those things, right? But it's like deep down, I knew. I just wasn't allowing myself to accept it. So this was right around the early stages of COVID. And I finally felt just fed up with it. And I was like, this cannot be my life for the next 10, 20, 30 years. There has to be another way. And so I decided to actually get my real estate license because I wanted to pay off my debt. And I heard that people were making money in real estate, right? And I didn't really know what that meant, but I was game, right? I was ready for at least, a side hustle, a career switch of some sort. So then I started learning more in particular about real estate investing. And that's when I was like, wait a minute. This is what makes sense. This is the path of how I get out of my corporate job and do the things that I actually wanted to do without losing my soul, right? So I went all in. Over the next months, I buckled down. I paid off all of my credit card debt. I was a full-time engineer by day, a real estate agent by night and weekends and lunchtime and whatever time I could. Paid off my $25,000 worth of debt in 8 months and got under contract on my very first investment property. And with literally one property, I quit my corporate job and just went all in on real estate investing. Purchased more properties after that, started an interior design business, and spent the next few years being a digital nomad and traveling the world. Because here's the thing, right? Is you are literally just one property away from financial freedom, from location freedom, from time freedom. Like I literally took my dog to Portugal. I'm taking my dog to Mexico and Italy next year. But it really, sometimes it just takes one or two properties, three properties. I'm very big on a small but mighty portfolio and like understanding the strategies and the like properties that are actually going to give you the margin while providing housing for other people. That's like the gold. That's the secret sauce, right? And I want to remind you all, it's so important to call your shot, okay? I wrote this in 2021 where I was like, I'm just so excited to get a duplex, rent out the other side, Airbnb out my side, get Kiana, who's my dog, a passport, and go travel. This has just opened up my mind to so much more. And I was just really excited about what the future held, but I had no idea exactly how I was going to do it. And here's the thing. If you people have been following me on social media for a very long time, right? I've always been so obsessed with sharing the process so that others can do it too. And that's why I actually spent 30 days even building a program that documents literally everything I do or everything that I did called the Wanderlust Wealth Academy. And we're going to be talking about that at the very end. Okay. Now, I teach people what I know. Okay. I teach them how to buy investment properties creatively so that they cash flow, cover your lifestyle, actually pay for your life, right? And also, I teach you how to build a wildly abundant, freedom rich life that actually feels aligned with your soul and true to who you truly are. And it's helped so many people, like Cyan, like Devlin, like Jocelyn, where they've all purchased properties and they've actually made money. Like Cyan was one of my, she's actually, oh, this is a cool story. Cyan's actually a coach now within my program. She found me years ago, like joined one of my programs, bought her first duplex, lives on one side, Airbnb's out the other side, lives completely free. And it's just like, everything just comes in full cycle. But like Devlin's a great example of this. Literally purchased two rental properties in 1 year, making an extra $2,600 a month in income, as well as getting under contract in like 2 months within being in the program, thinking that it was going to take her a whole year. Or Corey, she bought a house for free, like literally $0, spent $0 on a property that makes her money, which is crazy, and then went to go travel to Spain. So I want you to drop it in the chat right now. If you have no properties, first, what's holding you back from investing right now? If you have a couple properties and maybe you're thinking of a new strategy like a short-term rental or a midterm rental or something more creative than that, drop it in the chat. What's actually holding you back from doing it, doing the damn thing? Looks like we've got a few more people. Bria, I think your name's Bria. Victoria. Okay, debt for sure. Building your savings. Okay, high interest rates. Interesting. Two parts finances. Okay, okay. Figuring out the right strategy. Who else? What else we got? What's holding you back right now? Money is always something to consider. Absolutely. Totally new. Okay, I love that. And we're actually going to be going over that right now in terms of just knowledge. Okay, I love this. Okay. So here's what I typically hear from people, right? Is you are paralyzed because you either don't know the first steps you need to take. I think that sounded like Kelly, right? Being totally new. Maybe you're terrified of making a really big mistake and losing money. Or maybe you don't have hundreds of thousands of dollars in the bank, right? Like you're like, I don't know how to do this. Maybe I have like 25K in the bank, or I have 50K in the bank, or I have 100K, but I'm not rolling in dough, right? If I could summarize these answers, usually this is where you are today and where you're trying to get to, right? Is this financial stability, this optionality, this time freedom, travel, generational wealth, all these things happening in the someday. And usually it's one of these buckets that you're missing. It's either the knowledge piece, the money piece, or the mindset piece. So we're going to go over those today. So let's start with the first one, the knowledge piece. What's holding you back from investing right now? So there's so many ways to do real estate, and I'm going to tell you this right now. Every single strategy works. Every strategy works. You're going to find people doing one of these strategies, and everyone really does work. So you could do short-term rentals, you could do new construction, you could do long distance investing, you could do the BRRRR method, long-term rentals, land flipping, house hacking, all of it. I will caution you here though. People will tell you you can buy properties with other people's money and no money down. Be wary, all right? The money still has to come from somewhere. And if shit hits the fan, do you feel comfortable paying them back? Now, that to be said, I purchased properties with no money down. I've helped so many people purchase properties with no money down. And especially if you already have a couple properties on your belt, this is a fantastic strategy to go with. But if you are working on your very first deal, you just need to get your first deal. And I'm going to show you exactly how to do that as well. Okay. There is one main strategy I see working, not even just for newbies, but for everyone who's getting into real estate. I truly don't think I'm going to like ever stop doing this strategy, okay? Because even like there's so many ways that you can always up level it. So I want you to put in the chat right now, what is your biggest expense? Drop it in the chat. What's your biggest expense right now, this second? On a monthly basis. What's your biggest expense? Flipping credit card debt. Yep. Credit card bill, only real expense. Rent. Yep. Rent's a big one. Storage unit. Interesting. What else? What's a big expense for you right now? Condo, mortgage, and HOA. Yep. How about you, Tina, Bria? Rent, tuition. Absolutely. Okay. So I saw this on No Chill, which is just like a meme Instagram that's like you can permanently change the price of one item to $1. What is it, right? Rent, mortgage, houses, rent, mortgage, land, right? So this is why the number one strategy that I see working best for people, not even just people getting started investing in real estate, but like I said, like I literally do this with a $1.4 million property right now, is house hacking. Okay. So what the heck even is house hacking? House hacking is when you buy a property, you live in one part of it, and then you rent out other parts of it so that either your tenant, your guests, your renters can actually pay for your mortgage. And being around so many other multimillionaire real estate investors, everyone always says that house hacking never fails, okay? So these are the five best strategies that you can actually use to house hack. Number one, this is really easy. Everyone knows this, right? It's just getting roommates, right? You buy a house, you get roommates, they pay you rent, and now suddenly you're not having to pay your mortgage, right? But as I understand too, some of us were like, we don't want roommates. I'm the same. I haven't had roommates since I was like 21, right? And so there's so many other ways you can do this. Buying a property with a basement unit or a loft unit, right? That's actually something that I recently purchased was a property that had a basement unit and I was able to separate them out into two separate spaces. So now I can live in one unit and then other people can live in the other and pay for the property. An accessory dwelling unit. What does that actually mean? It just, once again, means a separate unit that people can rent and actually use as either a long term rental, short term rental, mid term rental, commercially as a studio space. There's so many options here. Maybe it's a garage apartment. Maybe it's like a casita in the back. Maybe it's a mother in law suite that has a completely separate entrance. The other option for house hacking is the nomad method. Now, there are two different strategies that go into the nomad method. The first one being you buy a property, and then whenever you travel, you just rent out your unit or you rent out your house, right? Whenever you're traveling. The other way to do it is you buy a property, live in it for a year, and then you move. As a nomad, you move, you rent it out, and now that has become a rental property, right? And the cool thing, and this is where we're going to really talk about loan options and all of that within house hacking. And we're also going to go over other strategies, specifically short-term rentals and stuff at later on. So once again, stay on till the end. And then multifamily, right? This is going to be duplexes, triplexes, fourplexes. Anything less than 5 units is considered residential multifamily. So you can use low down payment loans for this. Now, the cool thing about house hacking is you can test out different strategies. You can test out short term rentals. You can test out long term rentals. You can test out midterm rentals. And by midterm rentals, there's two different types, right? There's direct to consumer. Direct to consumer being like you're renting directly to traveling medical professionals, like a traveling nurse or a traveling doctor, or to digital nomads or stuff like that. Or you can even rent directly to businesses like corporate rentals, insurance rentals. The cool thing about this too is with midterm rentals, they're basically just furnished rentals that you're renting for on a monthly basis, right? So anywhere where it's 30 days plus, whereas a short-term rental is less than 30 days. You can also try out the co-living strategy. Like I literally have a friend of mine who he has created a whole faith-based community around the co-living strategy where he buys houses, he sets everything up so that they each have their own separate rooms. They've got a little kitchenette in their room, but technically they're renting their room from this house, from this entity. And it's all people that have the same interests, which is really cool, especially when there's been, with COVID, a whole loneliness epidemic that's happened. Just such a great way to build community. And he hosts events and things like that. But you can also do it for affordable housing. You can do it for other social communities. You can do it for industry-based housing, like with pilots. Pilots always need like places to stay in between their stays. There's so many different. We're not going to get into the nitty gritty details of everything because once again, we only have 60 minutes here, or like a little over. If you can stay longer than 60 minutes, I'd highly recommend because I think the Q&A will probably bleed until then. But we can go over anything. But the thing that I love about house hacking, right, is that the rules and regulations just tend to be so much less strict around house hacking, especially if you're considering doing short-term rentals. You want to get into Airbnbs, you want to try midterm rentals. A lot of the time, it's easier to do that when you actually live in the property or you live in part of the property and rent the other part out. So I want you to drop it in the chat. How much do you actually need to put down to buy an investment property? Drop it in the chat. How much do you need? And you can put it in terms of percentage, right? Is it 20%? Is it 50%? Is it 1%? Like, what do you think? How much do you need to put down on a property? Depends. Yep, yep. Okay. Who else? How much do you think you need to put down on a property? 20%? Question mark, question mark. Okay, okay. Who else? How much you need? 10%. I love all the question marks out there. You're like, maybe, I don't know, potentially. 3%. Okay, okay, we're all across the range here. So, the cool thing about house hacking is you can put as little as 0 to 5% down to buy not even your first investment property, your second, your third, or your fourth. Like I'm constantly using the house hacking strategy and even get your closing costs fully covered. Okay. So that really goes back to the second thing is what's holding you back from investing right now. And I know a few of y'all said money, right? So, we're actually going to go over a few different loans that you have the option to use, especially if you're house hacking. Okay. And then we'll also go over strictly investment property loans later. Okay. So, the first one is going to be your regular conventional loan. Now, with a conventional loan, you can put anywhere from 3 to 5% down. Okay. 3% down for a single family home, 5% down for a duplex, triplex, or fourplex. The cool thing about these loans is they're probably the easiest types of loans to actually qualify for. It's very standard. So many lenders do it. PMI, which is the private mortgage insurance. So, okay, here's the other thing. People are always like, you shouldn't put 20% down on or less than 20% down on a property because then you'll have PMI. Guys, if my property is cash flowing, do I care if I'm paying PMI? No. If the number is number, it doesn't matter, right? And we're actually going to go over that here in a little, right? So do not be afraid of PMI. Okay. Like this is a way for you to get in and really potentially secure a really solid property. The next loan is an FHA loan. This is actually the very first loan that I ever used. 3.5% down that you can put on anything from a single family to a fourplex. Now, you do need a 580 credit score, but they have more flexible income requirements than conventional loans do. Now, with an FHA loan, the MIP, which is basically the same as a PMI, it's just mortgage insurance premium, does stay on for the life of the loan. But once again, there's always a way to take it off. You can just refinance the property, la la la, so many different ways. And then you have the FHA 203K loan. So if you in your area, you're like, okay, well, I'm qualified for this amount, but all the properties need a lot of work, you can just get an FHA 203K loan. And so what that does is you can actually build in the cost of renovations or ADU build outs. Like let's say you're buying a single family home, it has a basement, you want to convert the basement into a whole separate unit. You can use an FHA 203K loan to lump the actual cost of renovating that or building that out into your full loan. So here's an example. Let's say you're buying a $300,000 property and it needs $50,000 worth of renovations. Instead of putting 3.5% down on a $300,000 property and then coming out of pocket $50,000, you can just put 3.5% down on the whole 350K, which is a lot less money. So, one thing, documentation can be a little bit of a pain in the butt, but worth it to put less money down, you know? And then, so if we have any engineers, any doctors, any lawyers on the call right now, you also have access to a young professional loan. Now, the young professional loan is 0% down. I didn't know about this when I first got started, but now I've helped so many people use this where it's literally 0% down on a property. They don't take into account your debt to income ratio. There's no PMI on the property. So it's just such a great loan product for you to actually go buy a property. Then there's the NACA loan. This is a government funded loan for it. If you're buying your first investment property, go NACA. I've had so many students like Cyan, like Corey, who've bought a property for no money. They literally made money back at the closing table. They used none of the money in their savings account to buy a property. And there's no upfront costs, no fees, no down payment, no credit score requirement, and below market interest rates. So it's really just a great, great option for people. Then, if there are any veterans, you have access to the VA loan as well, which is 0% down, no down payment requirement, no PMI, which is a great option too. And these are just a few. Like, literally, there's a USDA loan. I don't have time to go over every single one, but this is where it's so important to get around other real estate investors just to know what options you even have out there. Now, here's some other really cool ways where you can decrease cash out of pocket. If you have a 401k or some other retirement fund, you can actually use that to buy a property. Okay. And I'll talk about my 401k loan. So I've actually used a 401k loan twice now to buy properties. And the cool thing about a 401k loan is you're not paying any penalties and you're not paying any interest or taxes on the money that you're taking out. You're literally taking a loan from yourself, and the interest that you're paying on the property just goes back into, or not on the property, but on the loan, just goes back into your 401k. So it's literally just a steal. It's a steal. There's also down payment assistance that you can take advantage of. There, you can use your Roth IRA to buy properties up to $10,000 in your Roth IRA, penalty free to buy a property. You can get a loan or a gift from a family member. You can look into CRA zones or opportunity zones, CRA just being Community Reinvestment Act zones. There's so many different ways out there where you can come less cash out of pocket. So down payment assessment. This was like a text I actually got from my lender. She was like, I need to tell you about this program. This is specifically for first-time home buyers where it's like a $7,000 grant, right? Where you can decrease the cash out of pocket simply just because you're a first-time home buyer, which is pretty lit, right? Or Community Reinvestment Act zones. I love this. These are basically areas that are up and coming that you can invest in, and lenders will give you loans from 0 to 3% loans up to 1.5% in credit so that you can invest in these areas and go buy yourself a property, right? And this was another text, email that I got from one of my lenders. And this is where you have to be around people who are doing these things. Otherwise, you don't even know these products are out there. Now, here's the thing. Do not, I repeat, do not get pre-approved by a realtor.com or Zillow lender, okay? This was literally a text straight from one of my coaching students who was like, yeah, I got pre-approved for like less than 500K for a property with Zillow. And then I was like, no, go talk to one of our lenders, and he got pre-approved for 1.25 million, right? And so this is where it's so important that you have an investor friendly team surrounding you, because they're going to tell you exactly what makes the most sense for you. Now, I'm actually going to go over the very first investment property that I purchased. We're going to go over numbers so you can literally see what the breakdown of this looks like, right? And so this is my buy box. When I was first looking for a property at the ripe age of 25, 26 years old, I was like, I'm going to buy a duplex, right? I was looking in New Orleans at the time. That's where I lived. I was only looking at up and coming areas. I was looking at multifamily. So duplexes, triplexes, fourplexes. At the time, remember, I was a chemical engineer full time. And then I was also a real estate agent by day and night. I was tutoring on the side. I was doing everything. So I really needed something more new construction or turnkey, just because I didn't really have the time that I was willing to give to do like a full house flip or anything like that. And I also knew I wanted something less than $450,000 simply because at the time, the FHA loan limit, like the max amount I could have purchased, was $450,000 without having to come out of pocket more money. Just an FYI, the FHA loan limit since then has increased. And I'm like, damn, I could have bought like a $600,000 property now with that. And I knew I wanted to house hack. And my whole goal was to break even. So while I was living in the property, I wanted to be living for free. And then whenever I left, I wanted to make sure that I was making at least $1,000 a month in cash flow. So what does that actually look like? This is my very first duplex. I still have the little baby. I'm actually heading there with my cousins from the UK next year. We blocked off the whole week for me, my brother, and my like best cousin friends to come hang out. But so I purchased this place for $399,000. Down payment, I went FHA, so 3.5% down, about $14,000, right, for the down payment, and then an extra $10,000 in closing costs. So I was looking at almost $25,000 to come out of pocket to pay for this property. However, this is where things get fun, because I was able to negotiate $2,000 in seller credits, and all that means is the sellers ended up paying me $2,000 to buy this property. I also, since I was a real estate agent, I was able to roll some of my commissions into the purchase of the property. But then on top of that, and I could have honestly just used this from the get-go, is I got a 401k loan to pay for the rest of it. Because remember, I figured out that I could actually take a loan from my own 401k to buy this property where I wouldn't have to pay penalty and I wouldn't have to take taxes from this property. Once again, I've used this again multiple, even when I left my corporate job, I just rolled over my old 401k into a new 401k so that I could do it again, or a new solo 401k. So, my own cash from my hard earned savings, I actually have to bring none of that to the table. So, real numbers, what does that look like? The mortgage on the property is about $2,400 a month. Utilities and expenses for both sides, about $500 a month. Total expenses being about $2,900 a month. This is where it gets fun. The income from one unit as a short term rental. So I lived in this back unit here. I rented out this front unit. The income from this place for a year averaged at $4,150 a month as a short term rental. Meaning, by me living in my house, I was making an average of $1,250 a month. So that's an extra $15,000 for the year. And this is where it gets fun, right? Before that, I was paying $1,800 a month in rent. That was just going towards rent. And I was like, this is so annoying. It makes it so much harder to save. Now I'm not paying rent anymore. So the extra money that was actually saved was $21,600 for the year. So in a grand total, by saving this money, because I'm not paying it towards rent, and making this money because I'm making it off of this side, that's an extra $36,000 of extra disposable income just for living in my house. I was like, okay, wait, I'm on to something now, you know? And now this is a reminder, and this is what like trips a lot of people up, is they're like, I don't want to live in a duplex forever. La, la, la. This does not have to be your forever home. Literally, I decided one day that I didn't feel like living there anymore. And so I just packed up my stuff and left and rented out my other unit. Like this does not have to be your forever home. It's a launch pad, right? It's like that stepping stone to get to that next stage. And so I know someone here said interest rates, but interest rates, right? This is the fun topic. It's been a fun topic for like the last 3 years, basically. Here's the thing. Everyone's like, interest rates are so high. Interest rates are so high. Guys, interest rates are not high. We just like had this weird blip over like a year and a half, 2 year period where interest rates happen to be absurdly abnormally low, which is not normal. Okay. But the thing about where interest rates are right now is that higher interest rates equals more opportunity. Also, okay, Precious, I see your question about house hacking as a family of five. And I love this because you can still do it. You can still do it. And we'll go over that more. But higher interest rates equal more opportunity, okay? Because we're in a season of negotiating. The number of people that have gotten properties for way under asking price, that have gotten properties and been able to walk into a property with equity, that have been able to negotiate rates down, that have been able to negotiate seller credits is ridiculous right now because of these quote unquote higher interest rates, which there are ways to get that down as well. Literally, these are texts from a couple of my coaching students. This was Corey. She's like, at this time, interest rates were at like 6 or 7%. And she goes, locked in a 4.75% interest rate, which is amazing. Or Cyan here, where she was like 5%, so 4.5% after credits because she was able to negotiate. When interest rates are low, this isn't happening. Houses are flying off the market like crazy, and you're getting annoyed because like you keep putting offers in and no one's taking it because someone's coming in cash offer, right? We're in such a beautiful time where you can get a slam dunk deal because interest rates are a little bit higher than they were before. And so when we're thinking about the market, right? Like there's a lot of tech layoffs happening right now. People talking about an impending recession that we've been talking about for years at this point. I want to actually like look at history. So 2008, why was there a real estate crash? There were really bad loans, okay? There were no income checks. Literally, you could just go to a bank and not show anything, not show your income, not show your debt, not show anything, and people were able to buy homes no problem and just buy homes they couldn't afford. That's not happening right now. This is where like during COVID, everyone's like, we're going to have a crash. And no, there wasn't a crash. Now there's always a slight correction, right? Like in 2018, people thought that there was also going to be a crash then. Wasn't a crash. It was a slight slowdown. Rates crept up and buyers pulled back. Right now, we're seeing a slight correction, which is why there's all this talk about a 50-year mortgage and all these other things, right? 2020, everyone thought the market was going to crash, but instead it was the opposite, right? There were low rates, remote work, buying frenzy. People were like, I need to buy more properties. Real estate investors were getting into the game. Everyone was trying to secure a property. In 2025, has anyone seen a crash? No, there hasn't been a crash. And here's the thing, too. I welcome a crash in terms of a correction, right? If there's a correction that happens, amazing. I love that for the real estate market. And that also means more opportunities to buy properties. Okay. Now, people who don't own any real estate, they wait for a crash and then they get scared, right? When the market crashes. And then they don't actually end up jumping in. But seasoned investors never stop buying because they learned how to take advantage of any market. Now, that's the whole key is to learn how to buy real estate in any market. And that's really what I'm a big proponent of. Like, okay, so Gian's a perfect example of this. Gian, she's actually in my upper level mastermind right now too. But she came to me about like almost a year and a half ago. And she was in tech. She felt like her job was kind of wobbly. Like they were going through layoffs. She came to me. She's like, I think I really just need to buy a property. That way I am set and whatever. So literally in the middle of layoffs happening, she's like, I'm just going to go for it and buy a property. She bought a property. She didn't get laid off that round. 3 months ago, she messaged me. She's like, hey, I finally got laid off. But honestly, I'm so freaking thankful. I'm so thankful because now I have this property that pays for me to live and I'm not frantic. And she's not even looking for a new job anymore. She joined my upper level mastermind because she's ready to like build a business and go full time into entrepreneurship. And the only reason she feels like that is because she has her living expenses covered. She's not operating out of scarcity anymore. So this is another example. So this is Bailey. Bailey, she's a software supply chain manager. She actually purchased a property in Colorado. And so it was this very cute property, $675,000, main house. But the cool thing is that it had a studio garage apartment in the back, right? And so Precious, right? Especially, this could be a great strategy for your daughter, but even as a family of five, a studio garage apartment in the back, that's something you could block off, right? Or a basement unit, that's something you could block off and have separation and have a completely separate entrance. One of my friends, David, he has a carriage house in the back that he just put a fence in front of. So he literally know it's like his whole separate house. Doesn't even see them, you know? And so let's actually look at this. So she beforehand was actually renting with a friend of hers, and she ended up bringing the friend with hers to her new house. Before she was paying $2,000 a month rent herself, and the other friend was paying like $1,500 a month or something like that. So she was like, okay, cool. I can maybe rent out the extra, like I want to live in the main house. She wanted to live in the main house. She could have lived in the main house. She could have lived in the back unit, whatever that looked like. But she was like, I want to live in the main house. It had its own separate, like, primary suite that she got to herself. And then it had two other extra bedrooms. So she was like, you know what? I'm going to have my roommate come live with me. She's going to take one of the bedrooms, and then her brother's going to take the other bedroom. Dope. Awesome. So she looked at rents, and she was looking at an average of $1,250 a month per room. But then she has that studio garage apartment in the back, right? And she's like, okay, I know I want to do Airbnb. She also loved hospitality. She loves to travel. She knew that this was something that she was like really interested in. So ended up looking at numbers for this. Average, if she had to look at like baseline what people were making in the area, $35,000 a year, so about $2,900 a month. So let's actually look at the numbers for this. $675,000. She put 3% down, so about $20,000, and then closing costs were about $15,000. But this is where, because we're in a higher interest rate market, she was able to negotiate $25,000 worth of seller credits. So she only had to come to the table with $10,000 out of pocket. So for $10,000, now her mortgage is $4,600, which honestly felt a little insane to her. She's like, holy crap, oops, holy crap, now I'm responsible for a $4,600 a month mortgage, right? Because before she was paying $2,000 in rent. And then plus in terms, she's like utilities for my unit and for the other unit, she's looking at about $5,000 a month in expenses. But this is where it gets fun. The income from just the studio unit in the back, $2,900 a month. The income from renting the two bedrooms, because she was averaging $1,250 a month, right? That's what she determined she was going to rent each of the bedrooms for, $2,500 a month. So she's actually making $5,400 a month from her property by living in her house. So she's actually cash flowing $400 a month. And this is where the math just maths, right? And so year one, she's making an extra $4,800 a month just by living in her house. But from rent saved, not paying $2,000 a month in rent, she's saving an extra $24,000 for the year. So you always want to think about like, okay, where's that money going? What can I put it? Now she can put that into savings. She can put that into buying another property. She can put that into the stock market. She can put that into other places, right? And so it's so funny because everyone's like, Airbnb's dead, the Airbnb bust, all this crap, right? And literally, and this is it's so funny because we just had another student who just launched 2 days ago. She's like, oh my gosh, I just got a booking right away, same day, right? And she's like, I have two bookings, one of them last minute, like so nervous. She's like, nope, just kidding. Fourth booking, fifth booking coming in. Airbnb is not dead. It's all depends on strategy. It's understanding how the platform works, understanding how short-term rental works, understanding how to actually maximize them. And that way you can actually go from being a renter or like having a mortgage that's weighing you down to living for free in just a few months, right? And so, like, even when you think about properties, there's so many different properties out there that are on the market right now, truly. And I think a lot of people get bogged down because they look at the purchase price. They're like, oh, this number doesn't work. Okay, well, what number does it work at, right? For me, purchase prices are just suggestions. Like, they're literally just suggestions. I never offer asking price. The only property I've ever asked asking price was my very first investment property because I was in a high interest rate market and I had to come in like really strong. But especially in the market now, no, this is just a suggestion. You can offer whatever you want. They ask for 725, you offer 500, you offer 650. That's totally fine. But it's figuring out the price that actually makes sense for you. Now, if you're like, okay, cool, I really want to start looking at properties, feel free to just message me on Instagram or on Threads or whatever. I know Threads now has the messaging feature. DM me the word calc and I'll actually send you my free calculator. That way you don't have to go and like figure out your own calculator. I'll actually send you this completely for free. Make a copy of it. You can use it. You can use it to run numbers, do whatever you want. Okay. Now, house hacking really is the lowest barrier to entry way to get started investing in real estate and building exponential wealth and retire early. Truly, this is something where, a lot of people will say, you got to buy 100 doors or anything like that. No, you could also just house hack one property a year and you could reach financial freedom in 3 to 4 or 5 years. Like you just got to do it strategically. Now, I literally asked ChatGPT, what's the quickest and simplest way to become a millionaire in 2025? And it goes, becoming a millionaire, it goes, the number one strategy, right, is investing in real estate, one of the like stocks, cryptocurrency, real estate. And when it comes to real estate, house hacking, right? It's just the best way. It's the most beginner friendly, often the easiest and safest way to start, as it provides both a place to live and an introduction to property management. And so I know someone here said that they started listening to my podcast. And if you actually go and listen to the Wanderlust Wealth Show podcast, that's where I both talk about real estate, I talk about mindset shifts, but I also interview people who've escaped the rat race either through real estate investing or entrepreneurship. You know that the most common thing for over 60% of the people that I interview is they got started house hacking. And remember, 90% of millionaires in the US invest in real estate. Okay. But now some of you might be thinking, okay, I get house hacking, but maybe I live in a really pricey market like San Francisco or LA or Denver or Austin. So who here lives in in an expensive market where you're just like, okay, I get house hacking, but properties are kind of crazy and they're so expensive and I don't know if I can make it work. Who here lives there? I know we've got a few people on here who live in expensive markets. Because I remember from the beginning. You guys said it's nuts at my place. Yeah, because you're in Seattle, right? So Washington, D.C. Yep. Mm-hmm. Exactly. Seattle. Yep. Yep. Okay. So I'm going to show you just an example. This is literally my property. I live here. This is my rental. In an expensive market like in Denver, I purchased a $1.46 million property. It's a 7-bedroom house. 5-bedroom main house, 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom basement unit. If you've been following me, you know that I live with my dog. My basement's very freaking cute. I live in the basement. Everyone who comes here is like, oh my gosh, this is literally like an apartment. I'm like, I know. It is very cute. It's a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom basement. But this property, this last year, has generated over $150,000, right? And I've been able to live for free because I realized, and it's so funny because, when I was originally looking at properties to buy in this market in Denver, I was originally like, okay, only $500,000, $600,000 properties. But it wasn't until I started thinking creatively and expanding what was possible that I was like, you know what? Let's actually look at some of these more expensive properties and see how we can make this work, right? And so the cool thing is because we're in high interest rate markets, right, and people are actually desperate to sell, this property that I purchased, it appraised and they were asking 1.46 million. They were both asking for that and they got an appraisal and appraised for 1.46 million. I purchased for 1.28 million. 1.28 million. So I walked in with $180,000 worth of equity simply because I was buying in a market where interest rates were high, quote unquote, you know? Now, also, if you're like, okay, cool, but like still, $1 million property still seems a little stressful for me, right? Maybe vacation home investing makes the most sense for you because you can buy in a cheaper market, right? You can either buy somewhere where purchase prices are less than $300,000 or less than $400,000. Or maybe you can even buy, like, let's say you live in New York. We have one of our students, Carolyn, she just closed on a $1.5 million property in Florida, but like that she's using as a short-term rental. Now, the cool thing with vacation home investing, right, is you can put 10% down on the property. So you don't have to put 20% down. You can put 20% down. Oh, I mean, 10% down. One of our students, Zach, he just bought a $219,000 property in the Poconos. So he's putting $21,000 down on the property. And he lives in New York as well. The whole stipulation is you technically have to use it for 2 weeks of the year and it has to be 100 miles away from your primary residence. But it's such a cool product to be able to get into the real estate space, especially if you do live somewhere that's more pricey. The cool thing about short-term rentals too, especially if you are a W-2 earner, not even just if you're a W-2 earner, even if you have a business yourself, is short-term rentals, you get to take advantage of the short-term rental loophole, which is just like a tax loophole. So as I was saying before, short-term rentals are usually less than 7-day rentals, and they're often classified as businesses and not passive income. So if you actually participate, meaning you manage it yourself, and once again, managing it yourself, remember, I travel. I travel a lot. So when I say manage it yourself, I call it loosely because there's systems and processes that you can put in place so that management does not feel like a chore. Okay. So you can actually use the losses to offset your W-2 income, even if you make over $150,000 a year. Because especially if you are a W-2 earner, I'm just putting this out there, you're usually actually paying the most in taxes out of any person out there. And this is one of the only ways that you can decrease your taxes on a short-term rental. And because you're using things like bonus depreciation, cost segregation to actually take those losses in year one of your property. Now, with like, for example, WWA, we literally had a person come in and talk to everyone exactly about how they can use it. And once again, we don't have too much time here right now, so I have to kind of gloss over this, but feel free to ask a little bit more after or join WWA and we can literally have a whole training on it. So the big thing about short-term rentals, though, is if you're going to especially take advantage of the loophole, is you have to materially participate in the short-term rental. Now, you may qualify for bonus depreciation, which does allow you, as I was saying, to accelerate your deductions and write off a large chunk of the property's value in that first year. And this is literally how high-income earners are legally swiping out tens of thousands of dollars of taxes and liability in year one. I remember I did this my first year when I was working my corporate job, and I bought even as a house hack, right? Like I lived in one unit. I did this for the other unit and I got like $30,000 back in taxes. I was like, what the F just happened? I was like, how is this happening? Or maybe you're like, I don't know if I want to do short-term rentals. It doesn't really feel like my thing. maybe long distance investing, long term rentals makes the most sense for you. Now, if you are going to do that, I highly recommend going to places where the median list price is less than $200,000. So places like Detroit, Cleveland, Akron, Ohio, Rochester, anywhere like that, because you can put, even if you're putting 20% down or you're putting 15% down, which you can also do for an investment property, you're not putting as much money in. And these properties are actually going to cash flow with long-term rental rates. And this is what I was saying. So with long distance, long-term rentals, right? You can put 15% down conventional loans. This is only going to be for single family homes. You can put 20 to 25% down conventional investment loans. You can put 20 to 25% DSCR loans. DSCR loans, this is a cool loan where it doesn't matter if you have a W-2 income. They don't look at that. All they take into account is how the property is going to perform. So if you want to go the DSCR route, maybe you don't have a W-2 income, but maybe you're a business owner. This is another way where you can buy a property. Or maybe right now you actually do own a home and you're living in it. You could use a HELOC. You could actually take a HELOC and use that to go buy a property. Yeah, so I have this like little table here that just shows the difference between long distance investing with long-term rentals versus short-term rentals. Now, get creative. In this market, in this time, it's so important for you to get creative, okay? Like there's so many different ways that you can do this. Like for example, Malia, she actually bought it was a single family home in Seattle that she converted into a triplex, which is such a great way to do it. Or use it, Mahadi, who used the nomadic method, where she bought a property, lived in it for a year, then moved, like converted that into a rental, and then moved into another unit. Or Cyan here, she's a construction manager who bought a $600,000 duplex in Chicago for $0. Bought a free house, $0, no money out of pocket, which is wild, right? Or Liz, who lives in New York, and she ended up technically house hacking, but still living in New York, but buying a property in upstate New York that was a $160,000 duplex that she was able to actually make both units into a full-time rental. And now, for anyone here who loves to travel, does anyone love to travel? Drop it in the chat. Do you love to travel? Yes, me too. I'm a big traveler. I'm always traveling. I'm like going to be traveling for like 6 months, 5 months next year. Lover girl. Yes. love, yes, travel. We love travel. Oh my goodness. Okay. So, literally just in April, I made an extra $4,000 just renting out my own personal house while traveling. Especially like, so for me, I think a lot of people get weirded out by like, oh, I don't want anyone in my space. But why? I have a friend of mine. She texted me last year. She just had a baby. She was like, Olivia, I don't want to do maternity leave in the US. I want to go to Thailand for 3 months and do my maternity leave there. I'm like, amazing. Rent out your place. She rented out her house as a midterm rental for 3 months. She moved to Thailand for 3 months with her baby and her toddler and her husband. They lived there for 3 months. They had full-time care, lived in a beautiful villa with a pool and everything right by the beach, and was able to make money on their property while they were doing that, right? And so the cool thing is when you do this, you can take advantage of things like home exchanges, where I remember when I was basically looking for a property to buy here in Denver, and I was just bit bopping around. I didn't want to pay rent somewhere. I didn't know how long I was going to be there. So I would just do home exchanges and stay somewhere for 14 nights for $250, where I literally just had to pay the cleaning fee, right? Or I got to stay in London for 10 days for $200 in the most fabulous area of London in Mayfair, which usually goes for $800 a night to stay there. Okay, it's all about the systems and processes. From day one, I made sure that I was setting up my properties so that I could manage them from anywhere in the world. Right, I made sure that I had the automation in place, the boots on the ground team. So I put this on Threads a while ago. I was like, does anyone here who's regretted investing in real estate? No, literally. Most people are more so like, damn, I wish I'd gone into it sooner. I think about this. I thought of buying a property when I was 21 and I got scared. And I'm like, damn, you idiot. You should, it's like, it's okay. I got to it when I was 26, but at 21, oh, that would have been 5 years. 5 years of being able to reap the benefits. So that really goes back to the last thing that's holding you back. And for a lot of people, that's mindset, right? After working with hundreds of clients, the main issue that I see is people just not knowing either how to get started or getting stumped at different parts of the process, which then leads to overwhelm, it leads to inaction, it leads to people giving up. Okay? So success really is contagious, right? When you see one person doing it, you're in the rooms, you're seeing everyone else doing it, you feel this need to get it done too. Okay? And here's the thing, I have literally been exactly where you are, right? Like just frustrated, annoyed, ready to get in, but not knowing where to go, not knowing how to get started, not knowing how to buy that second, that third, that fourth investment property and scale from there using creative strategy, using leverage, using either the short term rentals, using partnerships, any of that. And so I want you to drop in the chat right now if anything could be true for you around real estate, around your life, around how this got to go for you, what would be true for you? That's like opposite to the way that you've been thinking so far. What gets to be true for you? Drop it in the chat. If you got to decide how this thing called real estate could work, if you got to decide how this thing called life got to work for you, what would be true for you? Like I remember for me, I was like, I don't want 100 properties. I want a small but mighty portfolio that crushes it, that makes a shit ton of money, that cash flows a ton, and I can live off of that and travel the world and do all my things, right? So I travel full time for work. Oh my gosh, yes, absolutely. Don't need a 9 to 5 to survive. Absolutely. What else? What could be true for you? Drop it in the chat. I know we've got Danielle, we've got Judith, Maria, Tina. I know a couple of people have had to hop out. We're a little over time here, but I swear we're ending soon. What could be true for you? Live off the cash flow. I have an income property, sell it off as yes. Oh my gosh. Yes, 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 yes. That you only need a few property, 1 to 3 properties to make this work. Okay, love this. Yes, creating without being concerned about money, making more free spirited decisions. Oh my gosh, I love this. I love this. Okay, here's the thing. I literally went from zero real estate to a $3 million portfolio that does over $40,000 a month in less than 2 years with implementation, right? I wrote this. I remember I wrote this. This is when I had one property and I was working on the next couple of properties. And I said, I'm so glad I decided to take the leap, join this program. It makes a world of a difference to have a community you can just bounce ideas off of with, rely on when building your business. And that truly shaped exactly how I built my business, how I built my real estate portfolio today. And that's exactly why I honestly created the Wanderlust Wealth Academy. So, what is the Wanderlust Wealth Academy? It is my signature program that helps you buy, set up, and automate investment properties that pay for your life. So you can travel, you can create, you can live life on your own terms. We are truly investors, we are travelers, we are wealth builders. And so in the program, we have our signature funding profit freedom framework that takes you from renting to actually getting your first booking within less than 6 months. We walk you through step by step, buying your first, your second, your third, your fourth investment property, depending on where you're at in your journey, figuring out finances, getting you pre-approved, setting you up with lenders, realtors, everything, running numbers, searching for the right properties, getting you under contract, closing on the property, setting up the property, launching the property, welcoming your first renters, your guests. You'll have access to our full system, daily support, and community of other folks scaling just like you so that you're never left second guessing. Now, how does it actually work? So we have 5 pillars. First, you have the online course. The cool thing with the online course, you have access to that for life. So whenever you get signed up, you get access to all of the updates that I make. And if you know me, like I'm constantly just like adding random things. I'm like, this would be helpful. This is something that I learned that's new, adding that into the program. And you have access to that for life. We also have in our membership weekly group coaching calls. We have one-on-one coaching calls as well. So you actually get assigned a one-on-one mentor that you're going to be working with and that you have access to all the time, that we're checking in on you every single week. And then you also have all the resources, templates, all of that as well. So you don't have to create things for yourself, especially if you're doing things like a short term rental and you're like, oh my gosh, there's so many different moving pieces. Don't worry, we got you. And then on top of that, the badass community of people who are really just committed to building a life of freedom. Now, how does it work? We have two phases. The first one is the momentum phase, the second one being the expansion phase. Now, the momentum phase, this is for people just getting started with their very first property. Maybe you're, and especially if you're thinking of house hacking, that's going to be the best option for you. Okay. So the momentum phase, this is really for people who are just buying their first property. They know they want to get started. They're really trying to build that foundation and live in it while renting other parts of it out to reduce their living costs. The expansion phase, this is when, if I know there's, I think Heather who was on here, this is when you're thinking of now like scaling, right? You're thinking of creative strategies. Maybe you're thinking of doing a short-term rental, hiring virtual assistants, actually scaling your property through creative strategies, right? This is where that you're going to want to be in phase two, which is the expansion method. You usually already own some sort of a house, either a rental or a primary. So some of you here already own a primary property, but you're actually looking to maximize your returns and scale through creative strategies. That one's going to be for you. Now, the way that it works is actually simple. I'm also going to drop the link for it in the chat. That way you can go through it. But the way that it works is really simple. So depending on the tier that you choose, there is a one-time sign-up fee, and that gives you access to all of the core material. So like I was saying, like you get access to the course and all of that material for life. So that gives you access to that. And then the cool thing that we're actually doing for the month of November is that month one, because we have a monthly membership, month one, we're calling this your onboarding month, where you get access to the curriculum and you can get started at your own pace. And in month one, basically, you'll already get access to all the group coaching calls. You'll get access to having like a one-on-one mentor right off the bat. And you basically get a 30-day trial of the membership just by joining, which is really cool. And we also do deal analysis reviews. We look at your properties. We go through regulations with you, literally holding your hand throughout the entire process. And then after month one, when it comes to the group coaching calls, the one-on-one calls and all of that, you can actually opt in and out as you need. So we have a monthly membership fee. You can pause that at any point in time. You can cancel that at any point in time. We used to run this as a 6-month coaching program, but honestly, what we found is that everyone's on their own timeline. Some people come in and they're like, in 2 months, I'm under contract, got my property, I'm good, peace out. Other people, they're like, I'm in it for 6 months or I'm in it for a year. And it really just depends on how fast you want to move. And also life happens. We've had people come in and they're like, I'm traveling for the whole month. I'm not going to be focusing on real estate this month. Can I pause my membership? Absolutely. We get it. Okay. And that's the beautiful thing of being able to join. And then on top of that, you get 3 extra bonuses, which is the money and mindset, the ultimate guide on how to actually manifest money, real estate, investment properties, and abundance into your life, the Wealthy Way Roadmap, which is really the secret sauce and how you can pay off debt, save up for a down payment, and that first investment property. And then also the Jet Set and Invest Playbook, which is all about travel hacking. I know someone on here is a travel hacker themselves, as in they do like pet rental, or not pet rentals, but like watching over people's pets while they travel. But we have a whole guide that's not just even about that. It's about like really creating a space where you can become a digital nomad, making your home as an income stream and learning how to actually rent out your own personal place. And we do have various payment plan options. I think I dropped the link over there, so feel free to check out. We've got so many different payment options, including buy now, pay later options, all of that. So, and if you're not sure which phase to choose, you're like, okay, I know I want to do this, and you don't know which phase to choose, message me on Instagram, or you can also email me at support@oliviatati.com. Okay, if you have any questions at all. Hello. Okay, so we are going to go into the bonuses and everything for WWA. As you've probably noticed, this is me just interjecting right now, the bonuses that are listed here, these were specifically for this webinar. However, we do still have some fun bonuses, even though you weren't at this actual webinar.
Basically, if you join within 24 hours, just go to the website, oliviatati.com/WWA, and the bonuses will actually be listed on there for if you like what you'd get if you join within 24 hours. Now, our whole point about this is we like to do a fast action bonus because so many people talk about investing in real estate forever, right? Like they talk about investing in real estate for a year, 2 years, 3 years, and it's just like, my whole goal is I want you to actually get started. Stop making excuses and actually get started. This is why we do provide the fast action bonus, because it's to give you incentive to actually make moves and stop waiting, stop sitting around for your goals. So go to oliviatati.com/WWA, go to the website, and you'll see what the fast action 24-hour bonuses are in there. Okay.
Now, because I love gift giving, we are doing a special deal. This is literally the best deal. Like, I'm not putting this anywhere. We are doing like Black Friday stuff next week, which is going to be half of this. Like, literally just for you being on the masterclass today. And for anyone who's watching the replay as well, if you do join by tomorrow, so if you join today or tomorrow, you get some extra bonuses. You actually get, so I don't do any of the one-on-one calls. We have specific coaches that do the one-on-one calls. I run the group coaching calls. But if you do join by tomorrow, you have a private strategy call directly with me that we're going to do this week. Like, we're literally going to set you up and figure out your plan for the next couple of months so that you can become a real estate investor. And then on top of that, you get an emergency call with me that you can use at any time during the program. If you're like under contract, or if you have a property and there's a guest that's acting up or whatever, like, you can use this at any point in time. And then on top of that, as I said before, I used to have an interior design business. You actually get the What Would Olivia Do design plan. Now, this is a really cool plan that we started where basically my team will go in and give you exactly what we would do in terms of designing your property. You do get design advice in the program as is, but this would be like us giving you mood boards and all of that so that you know what direction to take your property and exactly what we would do. And then, as I was saying before, if you do join now, and this is just for the month of November, you get 30 days complimentary group coaching calls, one-on-one calls with a specific coach, deal analysis reviews, all of it. And then you also get the leap year activation. And this is usually I only provide this for my mastermind folks. But this is the exact process that my clients use to shift from thinking about investing, thinking about starting a business, thinking about changing their business, to actually closing and doing the damn thing, okay? Because here's the thing. The average person spends $1,700 a month on rent. In just 1 year, that is $21,000 that they're spending on rent. And if you look at over 5 years, that's over $105,000. Rents are constantly rising. You've seen it in the market. Rents are always going to go up. And so with WWA, you're going to learn the skills to never have to pay rent again. I haven't had to pay rent in 5 years, So, and instead you can go to cash flowing $2,600 a month, making money on your properties, actually buying properties that pay for your life. And secure your first booking. Like, literally, if you got started now, you could buy a property and get your first booking by the new year, okay? I don't think this code works. I tried to fix it, but it didn't. But that's okay. If you just go to oliviatati.com/WWA, that's where all the information is about the program. Once again, if you have any questions, literally just ask me. Message me on Instagram, be like, hey, I'm thinking about it. I don't know if right now is the right time, but I kind of want to do it. We can talk about it. And I'll be really transparent with you on if I think it's the right time for you to join or not. I'm all about just getting people in who truly feel aligned. My big thing is, I'm not here to convince you. I'm not here to convince you that real estate investing is the way to go. I'm not here to convince you that you need to do this. I'm just showing you what's possible. And if you know that this is something you want to do, this is a perfect time for you to join, because it's truly a slam dunk deal. But that is all I have. I'm going to open up for questions. I know we went a little bit over time, so thank you so much for staying on with me. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. I think I put the link in the chat, oliviatati.com/WWA. Remember, message me if you have any questions about which one you should do, if you should do the payment plan option, if you should do phase 1 or phase 2. The mastermind is not currently open, just an FYI, but the phase 1 and phase 2 for WWA are. but I'm going to open up the floor to any questions. I'm looking at the chat, so feel free to you can either pop off of mute and ask the question, or you can put it in the chat. I'm more than happy to answer.
Hey, Olivia.
Hey.
Hey, hey. First of all, I want to say that this was honestly the best real estate webinar I've ever attended. And I mean, I'm not even trying to blow smoke. It was so, I just love how you encapsulated the different strategies. And I think I just love your passion and fervor for this. That's one thing that keeps me attracted to your platform. So um, I just wanted to say that first. This is
Oh,
really, really,
you're so
yeah. And I mean that. So, and you know, because we've spoken before that I am in a phase where I'm trying to reshuffle a lot of things. And to be very frank, I, I have a property, but I think it's one of the things where I didn't think creatively.
yeah.
And if I had thought more creatively prior to getting the property, which, hindsight is 2020, I think I would be in a much different position now. So I guess kind of a question, and maybe this is for others who may have a property or who are thinking about a property they know about. What hmm, I guess I think I just muted myself. Sorry.
I was like silence.
What would you say as far as choosing the right property being like, I guess how important is it to choose the right property? And I say this to say that, as you know, the property that I have, I only thought about it in terms of long-term rental,
Yeah.
but I'm having challenges now where I don't have tenants and I just don't have the capacity right now to even figure it out. So I'm basically paying mortgage on an empty house.
Okay. Okay. I've got so many thoughts. So we have a lot of people that come to literally I was talking to one of my mastermind people the other day who had a similar situation. She was like, I have this property, I don't have tenants. And I'm like, a few things here. I'm actually going to write these down so I don't forget because there's two parts to this. Number one, not having tenants is a part of it's a mindset thing as well. This is going to sound really weird, but you get to decide how this goes for you. And a lot of the time we give up, right? We're like, oh, this isn't working. I guess this is how it is. This is how it's going to be. You can change that at any point in time. So I literally had, like, for example, one of my mastermind girls, she does arbitrage. She has a property, and it's like she had accepted that she was just going to pay the rent on it every month and that she just wasn't going to get tenants. I'm like, why have we accepted that? Like, why are we doing that? Like, why don't we think creatively? How can we shift this? Can we make it into a midterm rental? Can we make it like, can we decrease the price ever so slightly, right? So that we actually get a renter in. Because usually when we don't have a renter in the property, it's two things: it's marketing or it's price. Usually the price is a little too high, or we're not marketing the property correctly, or we're not like doing the correct strategy. So this is where, like, even it, like, if you did decide to join the program or something, that is the first thing we would look at. Is we'd look at your listing, we'd look at your pricing, we'd look at your property. Whenever someone tells me, oh, it's not renting, I'm like, okay, well, you have this listed at 2,500, and I looked at the comps, and this should probably be actually 1,900. This is why it's not renting, right? And so that's where part of it comes from: mindset of being like willing and open and ready for it to work. So that's number one there. Because here's the thing: is every property can work in some way, shape, or form. Getting the right property is part of it, but every property can be a right property at the right price as well. And this is why we have to get creative, and we have to like come into everything with a mindset of this is going to work. Because if you follow me, you know that, like, so I jump into things all the time. I jump into to random things all the time, but I jump into it knowing that I have the mindset, and I know that anything that I jump into, it is going to freaking work. And that's where sometimes people are like, oh, life comes easy to them. You know why life comes easy to them? Because they decided that life came easy to them. And they operate from that mindset. They operate and they move through the world like life will come easy to them. And suddenly it does, right? And that's why it's like part mindset, part strategy. This is where like a lot of my coaching students are like, you don't realize you're also going to get a lot of life coaching and a lot of woo-woo mindset stuff in the background because that is truly what makes you successful. So I hope that helped. Did that help?
Yeah, no, that's really good. And honestly, yeah, honestly, the biggest part, and I love how I love, again, girl, look, you've got the right mindset because I sure as heck don't. I can tell you that right now. I'm like, get me out of this. I don't want to deal with this anymore. I'm done. I'm over it, but I love what you're saying about the mindset. And, you hear that a lot, oh, your mindset. But I think what you just said makes a lot of sense. And I love the creativity because, for example, so my property is out of state. It's in Georgia. I live in Maryland. But, like, one thing I used to keep saying when I wanted to invest more here was like what you were saying earlier, like, oh, the properties are too expensive or I don't have, you can't find duplexes and triplexes here. But kind of with what you're saying, there's a way to if you can get yourself into an expensive property, especially if it's in DC.
Yep.
I think with the mindset or what I know now, let me just say that I can guarantee you I would have fought like hell to just get a property in DC because and I'm talking more so like with my primary residence, I would have no problem whether I want to do long term, short term,
Yep.
midterm, because it's in DC and near the metro. It's near, the sites. But when you're in the suburbs, you kind of have to be very, very strategic.
And
And
there are ways.
that's
So the
Mhm.
suburbs, I think a lot of the time people too think that short-term rentals won't work in the suburbs. You'd be surprised. Literally, I have a what is it, podcast episode coming out next month with one of my clients who I worked with at the beginning of it. She did the same thing. She came to my last webinar back in April. She came to that, hopped on a call with me, ended up joining. And she lives in the suburbs, literally the middle between Denver and Boulder, really random, kind of out there. No one's going there. She had a basement. We converted her basement into a short term rental. It covers 75% of her mortgage. And she's like, I would have never expected that. But it all comes with strategy as well, right? Like, so we were very strategic about the way that we designed the property for it to make sense. And we looked at the data, right? Because at the end of the day, I still got my engineering brain in there, right? Even though I'm very free flowing and woo woo and love all of that. But we can use strategy as well to make it work and make it make sense.
I love that. Love it.
I love it. I love it. Okay, who else has a question? Yes, go, Danielle.
Yay. Okay, I have a couple questions because I'm looking over the different options. Just to clarify, one or two, it doesn't matter, but is there each one of these programs are lifetime access, correct? Each one of
Yep.
the programs. I'm curious about the option because I'm going to need one-on-one help, aka what dumbassery things do I need to make sure that I don't do? Is
Yep.
that Was that the 299 add-on or was that the lifetime thing? I was
Yeah,
confused.
the 299 add-on. So basically the
Okay.
way that works, and once again, we started doing this earlier this year and it's worked really well. People
Okay.
love this strategy or this method. The
Okay.
299 add-on that gives you access to the group coaching calls as well as the one-on-one calls and the
Okay.
specific deal analysis reviews and all of that as well. And
Okay.
so the reason we have it that way is because with real estate, sometimes you're like, okay, I'm ready. And then you're like, oh, wait, I need a second. Let me
Yeah.
close it. Let me come back in. And so we give you that flexibility there. So
Okay.
even with the add-on, that 299 price does not start until month 2 anyways. So even if you got to like December 1st and you're like, crap, I don't think I'm ready to like actually start one-on-ones, you can pause that and we'll like wait till the following month or you tell us when you're ready to come back in.
Okay. So the program itself, one or two, is like a bulk program. It doesn't have monthly meetings or anything like
Yeah,
that.
exactly. But you get
Okay.
access to the community. So you still do
Oh,
have access to the community. You just
okay.
get less one-on-one support and like the group coaching calls as well, which especially when you're
Okay.
in the thick of like buying the property and stuff and like
That's when I
figuring out
want it.
strategy. Exactly. So that's
Yeah.
where the 299 comes in.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. Awesome. That was
Come
my.
through, girl. We're ready for
I
you.
know.
It's been like a year
I'll
and
actually,
a
it's
half.
horrible because I won't know the funds until the 20th. And so like I'm not quite sure what's going on until you're like the 19th. And I'm like, I don't know what the fuck's going on until the 20th, but we're really close.
The
So
20th, as in like Friday?
Friday.
Okay, well,
But I'm not worried about it. I'm like,
okay.
I'm not that worried about it. Don't worry about that. But I'm just saying it was really funny. You said the 19th, and I'm like, oh, I go to the bank on the 20th. So that's awesome.
I love this. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to have you, my
Yeah,
girl. It's
I
been a
know.
long time coming.
47 years later, like, hey.
Oh my gosh, I love this. Okay, who else has a question? Anyone else? Literally, this is the time for you to ask whatever question you have. I'm here to ask it or answer it. I know we've got a few people. We've got Sarah, Tia, Jessica, Tina, Epiphany, Judith, Maria, Kelly. What questions do you guys have? If there are no more questions, I will hop off. But let's
Yeah.
see. I mean, keep asking questions, my girl. Come through. This is
Okay.
the time.
Yeah. Is there part in when we're working with people, because location is a difficult one, because I know
Yep.
that midterm is probably where it's going to be the best suited for me,
Yep.
as well. I think it's going to be easiest. And then you will have systems set up as well for like managing midterms, because I know nothing.
Yep. We got
Okay.
you. We got
And
you. I have a few midterms myself as well.
okay.
So
And
good.
I know that you have connections with builders and stuff like that, because one of the things I know that you do is buy brand new properties, duplexes that are being built out and stuff like that, which I really do like.
Yeah.
Over Arkanley, do you have specific builders that you recommend? Because I know there's good builders and bad builders.
Yeah,
And
so depending on where you're buying, right? So
okay,
the big thing is honestly, we're actually going to put you in contact with an investor-friendly agent in your area.
okay,
And so,
okay,
especially if you know you want to go the new construction route, we will help you find
okay.
that right person too.
I'm thinking about it. That's one
Yeah.
direction that I'm thinking about, because if I'm gonna live there, I don't, I'm like the person with the 5 kids. Like I don't want to
Yeah.
fucking live with people. Like I am too old for that bullshit. So I need something that's nice enough where I'm like, I'm an adult. Like, but if I don't live there and I just rent both units, then I don't give a flying, I don't care.
But also remember too, you can buy it, live there
Yeah.
for a month and move out,
Yeah.
right?
Ooh.
I know. Here's where we start to get creative.
I like that idea.
Yeah,
I like that idea. Like,
right?
oh, a vacay in Houston for a month, a vacay in Alpharetta for a month, a vacay in
Mm-hmm.
Raleigh for a month,
Exactly.
vacay in Albany for a month. Okay, all right,
We've
got it.
got options. We've got
Okay,
options.
all right. That's good to know. My final questions, then I'll let other people ask, because so one of the things is do you work in, because I'm thinking about making this as a business, not a
Yep.
personal. Do we
Yep.
have people in your group that will help with that
Yep.
shit?
Yep.
Okay.
So there's literally a whole training on LLCs, on insurance, all of that.
Okay,
So you're good.
good. Okay,
Yeah.
good. That's the thing. Okay,
Yep.
done.
Love. Okay, so Maria said, could you elaborate on the loan options? What's the ideal route, or would they look at your finances and recommend? Yeah, so basically, Maria, it's like if you were to join WWA, that's the first thing we do is we look as it's hard for me to say just on here because I don't exactly know what your situation is. And this is why there's only so much we can do for free in the sense of I don't know your whole situation. And that's why we created the space because it's really going to depend on where you're at. Like, are you working a W-2 job? How much money do you actually have saved? Literally, the first thing we have you do is fill out an intake form just with what your financial standing is, because we also need to understand that to give you the best advice possible to make sure that you're actually going in the right direction. And then we actually set you up with an investor friendly agent. We have a bunch on our list, but we'll give you our top ones that we want you to talk to. And that way we'll see what loan makes the most sense for you as well. So I hope that answered your question. But yeah, there are tons of loan options there. We go through all of them. And then even, like I said, it's impossible to put all of them on a slide. There's only so much time I've got. Okay, Kelly said, I'm wondering about going through the loan process with self-employment income versus traditional W-2. I felt like self-employment income would be harder to qualify for a loan. Yeah, so there is definitely self-employment is a little bit harder, but definitely not impossible. We have literally, I think we just had like 3 or 4 people join over the last couple of weeks who are all self-employed. There is always a way. So depending on how long you've been self-employed for, depending on how much income you're showing on your taxes, there are loans as well that do require a little bit more down. that they don't even look at if you're employed or anything. You can just do a DSCR loan where they don't even look at you, they look at the property and it doesn't matter. It is, but like I said, it is a little bit harder just because you need to have your paperwork in a lot better of a place. And I think the biggest issue for a lot of self-employed people is they start to write off all their taxes because they want to show that they make no money. And like, no, you got to show that you actually make a little bit of money so you can qualify for a loan. But that being said, there's still other creative strategies that you can use, like doing seller financing or creative financing for your very first property. It's not always my favorite, but we've had people do that. Like literally Ariana, who I showed you at the beginning, that's exactly what she did because she just was only making like, I think 30 or 40K, but she had a big chunk of cash saved. Like she had like $200,000 in the bank. I was like, okay, you're actually a good like person for creative financing. And this is where it's like so hard for me to tell you just on this call because I just don't even know what your financial standing is, you know? Do you do one-on-one coaching at all? So it depends. I would message me. So we have my mastermind, and that's really where all of my one-on-one coaching happens. I don't really do like specific one-on-one packages. I have in the past. If it makes sense for everyone, including me in terms of my time, then it's not off the table. So I would just say, Tina, message me on Instagram and we can chat about what you actually need and what makes the most sense. And then kind of go from there. But I don't do just like one-off one-on-one calls anymore, just because it's not the best use of my time and it's usually not the best use of the other person's time. Because what I've learned about real estate and why I've even created a program like this is you constantly hit roadblocks. At every point, there's some roadblock that everyone's like, okay, I'm good. And they're like, wait, just kidding. I hit this thing and now I'm having this problem and now this person's doing that. I'm like, okay, we just need a container for that. So just message me, okay? Okay, bye, Maria. And then Epiphany, can you get a vacation loan or a DSCR loan after getting a loan through NACA? Yep, you can get a vacation loan right after. Like you can do NACA and then do a vacation home or DSCR loan the next month if you wanted to. It's all about like the thing you will have to just show is income coming from your other unit. If you're working with an investor friendly agent, they can even use potential income to help you qualify for another loan. So it will just depends on how much money you're making and all of that. But yeah, you can definitely get another loan right after. Yeah,
Hey,
absolutely.
Olivia, I have a question.
Hmm.
Okay, and I don't know if I should maybe speak to a loan officer in regards to this, but I lost my job in February.
Yep.
And so I know they want like a 2 year work history. And so right now I'm working in a different industry.
So they don't. They don't. That's a
Okay.
lie. That's a myth.
Okay.
Don't just just talk to an investor friendly. So a lot of tradition. This is where you got to get into the rooms where you have other real estate investors and real estate investor friendly lenders because
Hmm.
traditional lenders, yes, they'll be like, we need 2 years worth of work history. Literally, we had a lender come, one of my favorite lenders, come talk to our group on Monday, and we were both like, yeah, I've never had my job for 2 years and bought a property. Like I've never had a W-2 income
Hmm.
for 2 years and bought a property that way. So
Okay.
Olivia, I
yes.
don't want to if she's finished, but I had raised my hand, but I don't think you saw it.
No, I don't think I did. I'm so sorry, Judith.
That's okay. That's okay. But quick question for you.
Yes.
So with phase one, this is basically to get you started and on your way,
Mm-hmm.
basically. Okay. And then when you say, because I was waiting to ask a question because I was reading through everything in phase
Yeah.
one. Because it just took me a moment. When you say investor friendly team connections, and I see it says agents, lenders, insurance, blah, 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 PMs who get investors. Are these people on your team, people that have actually been a part of your program, or are they also investors? And I think you said you match us with someone in our city or state. Is
Yes.
that correct? Okay.
Yes, exactly. Yes. So they're not necessarily people who've been through my program, but they're real estate investors themselves and they
Gotcha.
understand real estate investing.
Perfect.
Just because you're going to find agent like, when you go on Zillow and you just find a random agent, 90%
Mhm.
of them have never invested in a property and they don't
Right.
actually understand what an investor is looking for. They're
Mhm.
like, no, this house is great. And they haven't actually run comps and they haven't actually looked at how much money the property is going to make. And they haven't looked at appreciation or ARV, which is after repair value if you're putting
Right.
renovations into the property. So we actually pair you with someone in your area And so just never, I think you guys noticed, or I talked about it a little. I used to be a real estate agent myself. I technically still have my license.
Mhm.
Part of that was I didn't trust real estate agents.
Yeah.
Like I just did not trust them. And I was like, I'm gonna be my own agent because I know I'm picky. And so what we do is we actually will go, even if it's like in an area that we haven't been in before, we'll actually vet them for you. So I, at this
Gotcha.
point, just know what to look for in an agent because I've worked with so many of them. But even then, too, if for whatever reason you're like, I don't like this agent, no worries. We can either help you find a new one, or if you have someone else that you want to use, amazing. We're never going to force anything down your throat. It's whatever feels the best for you.
Perfect. Yeah, because I know I actually got my real estate license during the pandemic, but I never got a chance to use it because I went back to performing full time
Yeah.
as a creative. But um, you're right. That's why I asked that question because every real estate agent doesn't understand investing. Just
Yeah.
because they're a real estate doesn't mean they understand investing. But does that particular, if you're assigned to someone and it works out, do they stay with you throughout the entire process or?
What do you mean by that? Like in terms of
So,
buying that first property or all the
yes.
properties?
No, just the first property if
Yeah,
you're
so
new to it.
they'd basically help you buy a property, get it under contract, and just close. So that's
Oh,
really
okay.
after closing, that's when the realtor basically is kind of out of the picture.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Hmm.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Appreciate it. It's good to finally talk to you.
Oh, I'm so happy. We joined, and there'll be a lot more of me.
Okay. Thank you.
Absolutely. Okay, so I think I see a couple other. Okay, Danielle, I like that part. Yes, that they're investors themselves. Do the investors partner with any of your students, or have they? What do you mean by that?
Like when I look at real estate investors and stuff like that, I'll look at someone will say like, well, I'm looking in this in just in this property, I'll put in X amount, you put in X amount, like partner that way. Does that ever
Yeah.
happen?
So if anything, we've had a couple of students partner together,
Okay.
less so with like other like real estate agents and stuff
Okay.
like that. But yeah, we've had students partner together. Literally, one of my students who now is actually one of the and this is a really cool thing. The coaches, like the one-on-one coaches who are in the program, are literally some of my OG students,
Okay.
which is really, really freaking cool. And
Got
it's
it. So if
like,
I would have joined 5 years ago, I too could have been an OG coach.
right?
Got it. I understand.
Exactly.
Got it. Got it. Okay.
Exactly. And it's so funny because like now a lot of them are friends and they're like, we need to go on a property together and on a property together. And yeah. Awesome. Okay. Any last questions? If not, I'm out. You will receive the recording for this. I cannot wait for you to join. Literally, this is my passion, my love, my joy. We're growing. We got such a great team, just people making really big moves. And I just am excited, regardless of if you join or not. I'm excited for your journey. I'm excited for what's in store. And honestly, kind of what I was saying before, it's like you get to decide your reality. It really is true. I've been journaling about this current reality that I have like back in 2021, back in 2020, and it freaking happened. And it's just like you wake up one day and like, of course it happened because I held the vision. I held the vision of what it got to look like for me. And now it's like I've got even bigger goals and like, especially, okay, here's the cool thing. If you join WWA, like I said, you get access to future content. I'm going to be buying a property in Italy, hopefully next year. That's the goal. You'll now have access to international real estate investing stuff because I'm cannot like not share everything that I'm doing. So obviously I'm going to create more course material on that. So um amazing. Well, I'm so glad you guys came. Enjoy the rest of your evening. I'm excited for you to join. Remember, until November 19th, so tomorrow, this is when we have those extra juicy bonuses, which will be really, really fabulous. But I cannot wait to have you. And if you join, do we get a link to the? I'll send you the link to the dress. I have to find it. I need to figure out where it is. I think it's somewhere on Rent the Runway. So, oh my gosh. Okay. Bye, my loves. See you.